channel. So today I'm going to be going through all of the eyeshadow palettes in my collection that have pans in them. I'm going to start off with all the ones that have 1 pan, 2 pans, 3 pans, and then so on. I thought this would be a fun little video. I do actually have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that have pans in them. I have been working hard these last few years and I feel proud of myself. I mean, as a project panner, I mean, you should be, right? So I have 32 palettes here to share with you. Bear in mind also over the years, I have decluttered palettes that had pans in them. And so, you know, this in its entirety could be larger if I kept everything, which I definitely have not. Okay, let's get through these big palettes over here because I just have the 1 pans to share. So I do have the Colourpop Aurora Struck, and this one I hit pan in. The shade over here is So Lit. And it didn't take me very long. It's one of their new like glitter shades. It's a weird shade. It was very weird, but I really liked it. I used it in the inner corner and then over the lid, and it's very squishy. So it was quite easy for me to hit pan on that. And I think it was in a pan those eyeshadows. All right, next up is my P. Louise Blend Away 2022 palette. This I got in one of their budget boxes. It's the only time I've ever got anything from P. Louise, and it was so massive. But I hit pan in this shade right here, and this one is called Stick With It. Again, it's another inner corner shade. Very pretty. I do like the formula. I'm wondering if I should maybe, I don't know, put these as singles because I never go into this palette because I just think it's absolutely enormous. Next up, we've got a Makeup Revolution one. This is Dangerous Love. And I hit pan this one over here, which is called Marry Me. And that was also in a pan those eyeshadows. I actually kind of liked it. I don't really mind this formula. It's not the best, but you know, for Makeup Revolution, I actually kind of liked it. And that's why I've kept this palette. All right, next up, we've got my Midnight palette from Beauty Bay. So I actually have got rid of a few shades in here because they were looking a little iffy, but I did hit pan in this a few years ago. It was either in my Zodiac panner when I used to do that project pan, or it was a pan those eyeshadows. I don't recall. I think it was Zodiac panner. And it's a beautiful shade. This one is called Gleam. All right, then we have the NARS Afterglow palette. This one I've had for a very long time, and I hit pan in this a few years ago now, and it's the shade Push It, and it's my favorite in the palette, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I really enjoyed that shade. I don't go into this palette nearly enough. I really need to. Slightly newer palette. Well, not new. I've had it for over a year, but it feels still new to me. So What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye, and I hit pan in the shade Fly, and that was also in a pan those eyeshadows. But yeah, not one of the palettes that I have the most use on, if I'm going to be honest. Same for this one, another What's Up Beauty. This is the Geodes palette, and I hit pan in Citrine. Again, that was in a pan those eyeshadows. Then we have an ABH palette, the Nouveau, and this one is just a very easy shade. It is the Paloma shade. I think also this was pan those eyeshadows. Most of these are going to be pan those eyeshadows, especially the one where there's only 1 pan. But yeah, this one was pretty easy for me to hit pan on. I do like this palette, but I've said it before, I think this formula is not as good as their older palettes, because their older palettes, I feel like the quality has held true to itself, whereas this one I feel like is just not as good as when I first bought it. Okay, and then I hit pan in this. This is the Avatar The Last Airbender, and this is the Water palette. And this, again, was in my pan those eyeshadows. I love the formula of this. It's so beautiful from Lethal. But yeah, this was a gorgeous shade. I used it on the lid in my inner corner. And honestly, it's probably the best shade that I could have tried to hit pan on in here because the rest are a little dark. Also hit pan in the shade from the Air palette from the same collection from Lethal Cosmetics. And this one was just this lid setting shade. So this one wasn't too hard. Then we've got a GlossGods. This is the Look for Rainbows. You cannot get this anymore. Or maybe you can, I don't know. But I've hit pan in this one, Happy Skies. And I love this palette, and I've just pulled it from my Shop My Stash, so I am excited to be going into this a little bit more. Then we have Menagerie Cosmetics. This is the Killer Purr, and I hit pan in this shade Pride. I think I want to say sometime towards the end of last year, and it didn't take me very long. It was a really nice shade to go into. I really enjoyed it. At the beginning of 2024, I hit pan in the shade from my Avocado Toast from BH Cosmetics, and it was the Lemon Pepper. And again, that was for my pan those eyeshadows. They're pretty much all my pan those eyeshadows. Or was this project level up? I'm not sure, I don't recall. Then I hit pan in my Glam Shop. This is the Muesli Noah. And I hit pan in this beautiful pink shimmer down here, which didn't take very long because these are very, very flaky shades. So not very long to hit pan on that at all. I've also got a pan in my Let's Get Nude from GlossGods. This one again in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. This is called Golden Era. This is beautiful. Hit pan on this not too long ago. Absolutely stunning shade. The last palette that I only have one pan is the Odin's Eye Jewels and Gem. If you'll follow me, you know I only just hit this last month. And it is this shade Ecstasy, again, from my Pan Those Eyeshadows. So a lot of these were from Pan Those Eyeshadows. Not all this year, but a few from within the last year, and then some a little bit older. Okay, moving on, we'll go into all the palettes where I have two pans. Isn't this exciting? Okay, so we have my MAC. This is the Star Sighting Compact in the shade Fuchsia. This was a Christmas edition, so I don't really know how many options they had, but I got this for a gift. And I've hit pan in two. I've hit pan in this shade and also this shade. I think both of them were from projects. Probably Pan Those Eyeshadows, I'm not gonna lie. I think I probably went into them in different Pan Those Eyeshadow times. Okay, then I have two pans in my Dubious Place. This is the Bronze Rustic, and this one I know was in my Zodiac Panner because it took me pretty much the whole year. I didn't go into it all that much, but when I did, you know, I was trying to be precise with it. And then this one I believe was a Pan Those Eyeshadows. So these were a little bit different, but yeah, fun. And currently right now, this one is in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. So this keeps getting pulled for projects. Then we have my Sigma Quarter Rosa. So I do have two pans in here, even though it's not my favorite palette. I hit pan in Shakespeare for my Zodiac Panner a couple of years ago. And then just recently for my project level up, I hit pan in the shade Veranda. So yeah, this one's got two little baby pans in here now. Then we have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. I honestly thought I had more than just two pans in here, but when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, only two? I think it's because I'm always trying to work on this palette in projects, and then I end up just not using it that much. So yeah, I've only got the two pans. So I love this shade. I think it's my favorite shade in there. So I definitely hit pan on that. It's called Gold Glitch. And then I've also hit pan in Super Moon over here, which didn't take me very long. I think potentially this one was in my Zodiac Panner, and then this one was natural. I think it was a natural pan. It wasn't in a project. I could be lying though. I don't recall. Okay, next up, one of my Pan That palettes for the year, the Naughty Nude. I already have two pans in here, and I'm hoping that I'll get quite a bit more. So I hit pan in the Flower Power shade a couple years ago now, and I also hit pan in the Naughty shade, and both of those were in a project level up. I had this for level 2, so I needed to hit two pans. Then we have my Natasha Denona Retro palette. This one I have two pans. They're both the cream to powder ones. So I hit pan in this shade, which is Vivian, and then also this one, which is Andy. I find the cream to powder ones a lot easier to hit pan on. I haven't actually tried to hit pan on her mattes at all, or her shimmers, but definitely I have more use on the creams. They're nice, but I have not subjected myself to trying to hit pan on everything else. I know that they are supposed to be very, very difficult, so it hasn't happened yet. And then the last palette with two pans is my Dancing in the Sky from GlossGods. Love this palette. And I have pans in these two top shimmers up here. But yeah, this is, if you can get your hands on it, sometimes it comes back in stock. I would highly recommend this one. I think it's my favorite. Okay, then I only have two palettes with three pans. The first one is the ABH Jackie Aina. I've had this for so long now, but I hit pan in Shookington. I think that was in my Zodiac Panner a few years ago. This one was a more recent one, the Trust Issues. I hit pan in that last year. And then Ginger was in the Pan Those Eyeshadows, and it took me the longest time. I don't even think you're gonna be able to see the pan because it is the babiest of all baby pans, but it is a pan, and it just took me forever. And then I have my Artemis from Alter Ego, and this was in a project level up. It was level 3, so I did have to hit 3 pans, so I have all 3 of them. I was thinking I might hit pan in this because I actually used this month. And I used this shade, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll get a cheeky little, you know, organic pan, but it didn't happen. But anyway, I hit pan in Allure, Quiver, and also obscure. So the cream to powder shades were somewhat easy to hit pan on. This obscure one did take me a little bit longer, and Alter Ego is kind of hard to hit pan on. In terms of like how many uses you go into the palette, it does take quite a bit of time, but I really love this. And actually I never posted it, but I filmed a short with the green, and I might post it eventually at some point. Okay, and then I have 3 palettes with 4 pans in them. So my current project level up is this. This is the Club Nebula. I couldn't think of what it is, from Kaleidos. And this is not really a spoiler because I haven't got any new pans or anything, but I've already hit pan in Firefly, and I believe that was in my Zodiac panner. I've already hit pan in these 2 shimmers down below. And then this one I know for sure was a Pan Those Eyeshadows, I believe. And it didn't take me very long to hit pan in that shade. So yeah, 4 little pans there. I am trying to get a little bit more because obviously it's on my project level up. It is level 3. So I need to get 3 extra pans. I'm thinking this one for sure. And then I'm thinking also some others, but I will talk about that in my video for next week. So hopefully I can do it before that goes live, you know, whatever. Then I have 4 pans in the Summer and Saint-Tropez from BH. I don't actually recall. I think these potentially were in my Zodiac panners and also my Pan Those Eyeshadows. But I hit pan in this first shade called Sand. I know this one, it was in my Zodiac panner because I did go into a lot of yellows. And potentially this one as well. I hit pan in the blue, and also Coastline is my favorite, and that potentially was in Zodiac panner. Really, really enjoy this palette. It's a shame that the formula is going a little bit, so I need to use it more before I end up decluttering it. And then last in this category is the Earthly from Beauty Bay. This is currently my Pan That palette in order, but honestly, I have not been doing a very good job, and I have not updated you in a long time because there is nothing to update even though I'm going into it. So I already have a pan in this one, and this one, and I had already a pan in this shade from, you know, before I started this project. What I did start to do was instead of doing it in order, like down, it was more like a cubed, like Pan That palette cubed. So if it's next to a pan, I'm allowed to go into that shade. So I'm working on a lot of shades right now and still no pans because I have to say they're all mattes, and I always felt like Beauty Bay was easy to hit pan on. And I still think it is. I just don't think I've been into greens, and I'm finally getting into my greens. So hopefully I can show some progress before I give you an update on this project. All right, then I have 3 palettes that have 5 pans in them. So the first one is the Alter Ego Canyon palette. This was in a project level up, and it was my level 5. So I think typically it wouldn't have had all these pans had it not been in that project, but I hit pan in this cream to powder. This is my favorite shade, so I knew I wanted to hit pan in that one as well. And then these 2 took a really, really long time. They were the mattes, and this is why I say Alter Ego is pretty difficult to hit pan on. Honestly, also the shimmer too, the Cougar shade, was pretty hard to hit pan. So their shimmers and their mattes take a long time. The creams is where you want to go. But I think this one was the easiest one because I had already had quite a dip in it because I really like this shade. All right, then we have my Norvina from ABH. This has been in multiple projects. So I've hit pan in the Dreamer shade. I've hit pan in this one down below. The Wild Child, I believe, was in my Zodiac panner. I've hit pan in this one, which is called Celestial, and I've hit pan in the Love shade as well. This was in a project level up, and also it's been the Zodiac panner, and I believe Pan Those Eyeshadows. So, you know, it's just the luck of the draw, to be fair. But I also love this palette. Okay, and then we have my What's Your Power from GlossGods. This has been my project level up, level 5 for the longest. A little bit of a spoiler, I'm not gonna lie, but I finally hit pan in my Fish shade. So this at the next update will be rolling out. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy because I've been working on this since before summer of last year. So anyway, I have a bunch of pans. I have a pan here, I have two of these pans right here, and then 2 right here for my 5 pans. This took me a long time. I don't know what it was, because normally GlossGods have never been that difficult. The shimmers are really not that difficult. It's really the mattes. This one was just, it was never ending. It felt like it was never ending, and also I wasn't really going into yellow, so it just felt like extra difficult. All right, then I have one palette that has 6 pans in it, which is my Sample Beauty Equalizer Volume 2. This was in a project level up, so I got a lot of use out of it there. And then it also just was in my Panner's eyeshadow, so I got an extra one. And I believe it was in my Zodiac Panner as well. So the first one that I know that I hit pan on was this shade, which is the matte. And that was in my Zodiac Panner. And then I concentrated over here towards all the creamy, lovely, shimmery shades when it was in my project level up, because I knew those were the ones that I was going to hit pan on. So I hit pan on Angel, Brunch, and also Dream. I thought I was going to hit pan in this one, which is Sweet, but I've just hit pan in that in my Pan Those eyeshadows. So yeah, this palette potentially could have more pans. This is also very shallow, this one as well. There's a lot of dips in here and it looks great, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I have other palettes in my collection that need love. And then the palette that has the most is my Urban Decay Stone Vibes. It was my pan that palette last year, so it makes sense. I actually have 10 pans, but I also finished a shade. So it could be 11 potentially. But yeah, the only pan I still don't have is this one, but I haven't gone into it yet. But yeah, this has the most. And if you followed me last year, you watched most of my progress. And it was very exciting. But a lot of these pans I actually had hit before I rolled it into my Pan That palette. Definitely some of these shimmers I'd already hit the year before. So it was a fun little Pan That palette. The mattes definitely weren't hit, so I hit all the mattes last year and obviously finished the shade, and they did take me quite a bit of time. So this one currently in my collection has the most pans, as it should. Just want to go through honorable mention because I do have my Colourpop singles in here, and there are, I think 17 pans in this. So I have 4 tiers, but only 3 of them have actual singles in them. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pans in the first layer. And a lot of these will be all of their 9 pans, to be fair. Okay, and then in this layer I actually have 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pans here to share. And then this one I have 5 again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like all of these glitters I am going to count because I do have a pan in them. Even though literally you put your finger in them and you hit the pan, they count, okay? So I actually have quite a lot of pans in my collection. When I counted last time, it was 98. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, I thought I would share this if you are new to my channel and you don't know my collection yet. Those are all the pans that I currently have in my eyeshadows. I think this year I really would like to concentrate on expanding the pans that I currently have, but also hitting pan in palettes that don't have pan in them. I don't have a project going where I'm purposely making that happen, but I would like that to happen. I'd like to just get to a point where all of the palettes in my collection are used, look like I love them, because for the most part I do. And then obviously I would love to hit pan and everything. So we'll see how it goes. But I thought I'd share this. Thank you so much. I hope everyone's having a wonderful time. As I'm posting this, I believe it's Valentine's Day. So whether you are single or with someone, whatever, I hope you have a wonderful, lovely day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.